So this is Solovey podcast again, and today and this time is very interesting because Solovey podcast is actually having conversation with Julia Solovey. What a coincidence! Like this, you have an absolute fantastic surname. So, Julia, let's get straight into the topic. So, tell us who you are, what you are doing here in Ukraine.
I am co-founder of an NGO called UkraineWOW, which is focused on cultural diplomacy and on the promotion of Ukrainian culture. This story started in 2019 when our team opened the most visited exhibition in Ukraine, as it appeared to be after. We had more than 300,000 visitors in 3 months. The name of the exhibition was UkraineWOW, and its main goal was to, as we call it, to make people go wow about Ukraine, to find interesting facts and stories in Ukrainian culture, history, geographical wows, economical wows, and to put them in one place. And in 2019 it was a huge boom, because even a lot of Ukrainians didn't know the facts, the stories that we gathered in one place. We had even sometimes buses and trains arriving from different cities to visit the exhibition, as it was located in Angar on the central railway station. So it was a very important moment for our team when we understood that there is a huge potential in telling stories about Ukrainian culture that unites people and that gathers people, around this feeling, I would say, this feeling of beauty and the feeling of how vibrant is Ukrainian culture despite all the struggles that we had in our history. And that is something that we see right now during the full-scale invasion. And by the way, Solovey is translated as nightingale, so...
It's a great metaphor. You have a great surname. So, UkraineWOW is a very important movement, I think. I think every country should have their own Finland WOW or UkraineWOW. And so, what are the kind of concrete examples that you think right now are very wow from Ukraine culture?
Something that we have in focus right now, and the first project we've launched, it was connected with the story of Cossacks, and it's the story from 16th, 18th century, when the basement of Ukrainian government and sovereignty was created, and it's the first times when not the name of Ukraine was mentioned, because it was earlier, but when someone said, "I'm Ukrainian." It will be the part of the podcast, the air raid alert.
Yes.
The first person who said "I'm Ukrainian" was a Cossack, and that's why we are trying to show the story of Cossacks and the leaders of Cossacks, like field marshals who were also governors of Cossacks country. We call them hetmans, and one of the most famous one was Ivan Mazepa, who managed to unite different two parts of Ukraine from on the different banks of the Dnieper River, and who was the governor of Ukraine and Cossacks country for more than 20 years, and he was the one who was fighting to liberate Ukraine from Russian occupiers and to make Ukraine sovereign, independent, and he was he was doing this with Sweden as a partner, so it's also about the connection with Nordic countries.
Yeah, and Finland was, by the way, at that time part of Sweden, so we've been doing the same. We are now at the same fight. So history repeats itself.
Yes, that's it. And something that we did, because Mazepa is also why we chose him as the person and his story for the first project that we did, because he is pretty famous in European culture. Voltaire and Hugo, they wrote They wrote about him. Ferenc Liszt made a symphony poem like inspired by the story of Mazeppa. Eugène Delacroix and a lot of famous painters like made works that were inspired by the story of Mazeppa. And what we did, maybe like you saw it, Alexander Usyk, he is the undisputed world champion in boxing. He had this boxing match with the Fury, and it was the moment when he had to once more show that he is undisputed champion. And it happened. And at the end of this boxing match, he showed this saber of Mazeppa. It was the first time in the boxing history when the museum exhibit was shown on the boxing ring, and the also saber was shown on the boxing ring as the symbol of victory and as the symbol of this long history that during like that 300 years ago there was an incredible leader, Hetman Mazeppa, who was fighting against occupiers from Russia, who was fighting for our unity, independence, sovereignty. And what's happened was incredible, because the Google search for Ivan Mazeppa raised in 8,000 times in different parts of the world, because like people was Googling what is Usyk is holding in his hands, you know?
So, and I think that's a great example about how I think this is as a non-Ukrainian, how the culture over here is very close to history. You have, and I think it says a lot about the current situation over here, that finding these fundamental cultural artifacts and stories that really defines the culture. So you are looking at the whole creative and art sector in Ukraine right now. What would you see that what are today things that you might become the savior of that Usyk had? What are the things currently that are interesting for you?
It's you made a great question, because for us it's important not only to speak about the past, but always to like mix the past and rethink it and reinforce it through the people and talents of nowadays. So that's why we connected Usyk as the great fighter and boxer with the history of Mazeppa, because he is today. Right now we are trying to work with Ukrainian artists, for example, in the music sector. During the Christmas period, we've made a project dedicated to Carol of the Bells. That it's the song originally from Ukraine, Ukrainian carol, Shedrik. It's an interesting story, because 100 years ago, Ukrainian choir made one of the biggest tours of that time. For example, they visited 500 cities, and for example in Mexico they gathered more than 30,000 people in stadium singing Ukrainian songs, singing Carol of the Bells. And that's how Ukrainian carol became so famous, thanks to this tour. So for this Christmas, we connected with the same scenes, locations, venues where the Carol of the Bells was performed for the first time more than 100 years ago, and asked them to sing that song once more on that stage. And we had more than 50 stages in all countries that the choir visited, and also Barbra Streisand and Vera Farmiga, they became like the voices for the story, like narrators. And Ukrainian artist Jerry Hale, she sang together with choir in Kiev Philharmony, as it was the first place where the song was heard by the leader of the Ukrainian National Republic of that time, who said, "It's incredible, I want you to do this cultural mission, to think about the independent Ukraine worldwide." So that's also, this example of old story, but renovated today. So we work with musicians. For example, right now we are working with artists and creating and working on some big exhibitions and installations. We plan to open UkraineWOW 2 in August for the Independence Day. What else can I say about someone we are working for?
You do so much great things,
Yeah.
and of course, like UkraineWOW can be found from Instagram and wherever
Yeah.
places like this. So hey, so I'm like asking these questions about this thing not only to talk about the Ukrainian culture, but also that many people in Finland ask me that how is it in Ukraine?
I would say interesting.
Yes.
It's my favorite way to answer this question.
Yes.
You know, something that changed when the full scale war started. It's when the death is so close, and it's really you feel it in Ukraine. You are sleeping under the air raid attacks. Every day you open the Facebook newsfeed and you see information about someone you know who is dead right now because of the war. But at the same time, it makes you feel the sense of life, the value of your life so much stronger. And this feeling of vitality, this feeling of like value of human life and value of life as it is so strong right now. And
Yes.
that's why a lot of people changed their lives, because if you know that literally every day can be your next day, you're living like it can be your next day. You don't do something that you don't like.
Yeah.
You do something that you feel it's like you feel the sense in it, and you feel that it can be impactful, that you're in the right place, that you are helping someone, that you're helping your country. So I think that a lot of people started to live the lives they wanted to live. And it's, this paradox of this war.
Yeah.
And the feeling of the unity of Ukrainian nation is incredible, because we support our defenders, and we have this always raising statistics of donations by ordinary people. So it just like became a part of your outcomes. donations.
I think many ways you as a Ukrainian today, you are rewriting not only Ukrainian history, but you're rewriting European history. And that's drawn into me over here, because I think what you are doing here, not only in a front line, which we are immensely grateful, but as a nation, it's an inspiration to all other European nations as well. And that's something that in 100 years, the Mazepas are born today, the stories are born today, and that's something. And so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And maybe just a small thought that I have, that something that Ukrainian is doing right now. You're right, it's about the inspiration, and it's also about the understanding that the evil is real and you just can't avoid it. You know, because we were taught that if you see a bully, you can just avoid him.
Yeah.
But this situation showed us that sometimes you can't avoid the bully.
Yes.
And you have to be the good, must be strong.
Yes.
And every value you have to defend it, and you have to prove it, that it's has a chance to live. It's not just like a word, but it's something that lives every day.
Yeah.
Defend its daily. Yes. And I love the phrase that the freedom can't be granted or conquered for once. Every generation has to fight for it, and
That's something that led me to think about the Solovey music project, which first of all I think it was like emotional connection and these things, but now I'm speaking about it as a cultural resistance movement against evil.
Yeah.
So that as a person who has the surname as the project, so first of all, you've known this project for quite a while. So what do you think about like the whole thing that Finns are singing your songs?
I think that it's an incredible idea to empower the language of music to build these cultural connections, to build this connection through the melodies, to build this connection that is very emotional ones, because there are, you can write a lot of rational reasons why Finland should support Ukraine, or Ukraine should support and work with Finland. But when you build emotional connections, that's something which is invisible but stronger than any rational, reason. So music is a great way, an instrument in building this feeling that you have something in common, that you feel that like you have this we feeling, not they are doing something or they have some problems, or they are there. No, you have this feeling that we are here together, we are defending something together, we share some values together, we share some stories together.
Yes.
So it's incredible.
And for me, for last year to be working on these songs, it's very easy to find the connection between the cultures. It's a very, for instance, Serva Naruto song, the melody, the story, midsummer songs in Finland, they have the same story. So it's very easy to do that. So, but hey, Julia, any greetings to Finnish people about what they should look here in Ukraine right now?
Greetings. I'd rather finish with words of gratitude, and I'd rather finish with words of hope, that it's incredible what you and your country is doing to support us, your leader. It's so inspiring. You can't even imagine. Every word of support, we don't take it for granted. We are thankful for every time you say yes to Ukraine, and you say yes to build the connection between our countries stronger. And we are doing the best we can to be a good partner and a good friend.
Yes, and same from here, from greetings from Finland. Thank you, people of Ukraine. And Julia Solovey, thank you for the conversation.
Super.
Thank you.
Дякую.